Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati.
Hare Krishna. We're continuing here, Bhagavad-gita. Bhagavad-gita as it is. We are reading the second chapter, Contents of Gita Summarized, and this is verse, text 17. Avinashi tutadvidhi yena sarvamidang tatam vinasham avyayasyasya nakaschit kartamarhati. That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy the imperishable soul. Yes, and the purport here is this verse more clearly explains the real nature of the soul, which is spread all over the body. Anyone can understand what is spread all over the body. It is consciousness. Everyone is conscious of the pains and pleasures of the body in part or as a whole. The pain and pleasures of one body are unknown to another. Therefore, each and every body is the embodiment of an individual soul. And the symptom of the soul's presence is perceived as individual consciousness. Yes. This is an important point, because some of the philosophy of Krishna consciousness is a little beyond us. We have to take it a little bit on faith. But this is an observable fact. Maybe we don't have a good explanation in the modern scientific, established canon, but we can see that a person is conscious. You can feel things. If somebody pinches your foot or your arm, you will feel it. If somebody pinches the table next to you, or even your own child, you don't feel it because you're not connected. In this body, the soul connects through consciousness, and that's an observable fact. And it's an important fact because it establishes the difference between the soul and the body. If, for an unfortunate reason, we will need to remove a part of the body, this happens, there are diseases and so on, this bodily part, we will no longer be conscious of it if somebody pinches it. It will be outside the influence of the soul because it's no longer connected in the body. So we can see this, we can observe it, and it's not a question of religion or faith or belief. This is Bhagavad-gita. Krishna is pointing out factual things. Then maybe we will draw some conclusions later on, but the fact that the body is conscious and that consciousness is spread throughout the body, we can establish that as a fact. This soul is described as 1/10,000th part of the upper portion of the hair points in size. The Svetasvatara Upanishad 5.9 confirms this. Balagra shatabhagasya shatadha kalpitasya cha bhago jiva savigyeya sachanantyaya kalpate. When the upper point of a hair is divided into 100 parts, and again each of such parts is further divided into 100 parts. Each such part is the measurement of the dimension of the spirit soul. Yeah, this we cannot observe. This we have to accept on scriptural evidence. Similarly, the same version is stated, Keshagra shatabhagasya shatangsha sadrishatmakaha jiva shukshma svarupoyang sankhyatito hichit karnaha. There are innumerable particles of spiritual atoms which are measured as 1/10,000th of the upper portion of the hair. Therefore, the individual particle of spirit soul is a spiritual atom, smaller than the material atom, and such atoms are innumerable. This very small spiritual spark is the basic principle of the material body, and the influence of such a spiritual spark is spread all over the body, as the influence of the active principle of some medicine spreads throughout the body. That's a good example. We take medicine and it doesn't just sit in our throat or in our stomach. The effect of it goes to the body wherever it is needed, even if we can't exactly observe it. So the soul also, the consciousness of the soul spreads throughout the body, even if we hear that the soul is situated in the heart. Nonetheless, it is effective, I would say. It is powerful enough that the influence of the consciousness of the soul is spread throughout the body. that is defined as being alive. This current of the spirit soul is felt all over the body as consciousness, and that is the proof of the presence of the soul. Any layman can understand that the material body minus consciousness is a dead body, and this consciousness cannot be revived in the body by any means of material administration. Therefore, consciousness is not due to any amount of material combination, but to the spirit soul. Yes, interesting. So many interesting points. We may say that we don't believe in the soul, the body is there, and when it dies, it's because something is lacking. Yes, but it doesn't matter what we add to the dead body, whatever medicines or chemicals or makeup. We cannot, electricity, we cannot reanimate that body because the soul is gone and the soul is not coming back and the body is dead. So that is a fact. We just, we stress it a little extra in Bhagavad-gita, so we know how to say it's an important point. It's important to come back to what we really are, so that we don't just, we open the Bhagavad-gita, we close it, and we go on with our lives without paying attention to the spiritual needs of the individual soul sitting in the body. In the Mundaka Upanishad, the measurement of the atomic spirit soul is further explained. Esho nuratma chetasa veditavyo yasmin prana panchadha sangvivesha pranaischitang sarvamotang pradhanang vyasmin vishuddhe vibhavatyesha atma. The soul is atomic in size and can be perceived by perfect intelligence. This atomic soul is floating in the 5 kinds of air, prana, apana, vyana, samana and udana, is situated within the heart and spreads its influence all over the body of the embodied living entities. When the soul is purified from the contamination of the 5 kinds of material air, its spiritual influence is exhibited. Yes, so Prabhupada is bringing in verses from other parts of the Vedic literature, because there are different schools and different, opinions on the validity of Bhagavad-gita. So we consider it to be part of the 5th Veda, the stories, Mahabharata and Ramayana, which gives knowledge of the same knowledge that the Vedas give, but in a more condensed and easily accessible way. Even if somebody would say, well, we will listen to the Vedas, we will not listen to the Bhagavad-gita, here we bring in supporting evidence and more descriptions of the soul. Yeah, and here we hear about the life airs, which also is an unfamiliar concept, but things are going in the body, it's being, moved and influenced by these airs, which is one way of describing it. The Hatha Yoga system is meant for controlling the 5 kinds of air encircling the pure soul by different kinds of sitting postures. So we all know about yoga. The word yoga is bigger. Yoga means connecting to the Supreme. There are different methods, but the yoga we're all familiar with is the sitting posture yoga, which is just one aspect of yoga. It's called Hatha Yoga. And by these sitting postures, breathing exercise, etc., we can control the airs in the body. We can calm the mind down. We can bring the focus from the external consciousness back to the internal spiritual consciousness, but it's extremely difficult. Nevertheless, this is all part of the knowledge of yoga. The Hatha Yoga system is meant for controlling the 5 kinds of air by sitting postures, not for any material profit, but for liberation of the minute soul from the entanglement of the material atmosphere. So the constitution of the atomic soul is admitted in all Vedic literatures, and it is also actually felt in the practical experience of any sane man. Only the insane man can think of this atomic soul as all-pervading Vishnu Tattva. Yes. There are different definitions, of course, of sanity. One definition is to be in connection with reality. And that is the reality. We are small spirit soul, and Vishnu Tattva, Krishna and the other manifestations of Krishna as Vishnu, incarnations and so on, totally different different level. It's not that when we are tiny and small and, how to say, caged within our body and our sphere of influence ends where the body ends, suddenly upon liberation we will become something else. We will not become something else. We will stay individual spirit souls, and in comparison to Krishna we're very small. Our influence as liberated, self-realized soul is a lot bigger, a lot stronger than when we are identifying as a tiny little body on a planet in the vast universe. The soul is very powerful like that. But we will always be small, individual, and we will all be, how to say, dependent on Krishna in different ways. The influence of the atomic soul can spread all over a particular body. According to the Mundaka Upanishad, this atomic soul is situated in the heart of every living entity, and because the measurement of the atomic soul is beyond the power of appreciation of the material scientists, some of them assert foolishly that there is no soul. The individual atomic soul is definitely there in the heart, along with the super soul, and thus all the energies of bodily movement are emanating from this part of the body. The corpuscles, yes, this is a word I am unfamiliar with in English. I hope you can understand me. The corpuscles which carry the oxygen from the lungs gather energy from the soul. When the soul passes away from this position, the activity of the blood-generating fusion ceases. Medical science accepts the importance of the red corpuscles, but it cannot ascertain that the source of the energy is the soul. Medical science, however, does admit that the heart is the seat of all the energies in the body. Yes. We know that. We are dependent on the pump. If it's not working, if it's not moving, we can, by medical advancement, keep the body and knowledge, we can keep the body alive. Then it's important to add oxygen through the breathing and to pump that oxygen around by the action of the heart. And if the heart stops, we have this heart, I don't know all the medical words, resuscitation. You can pump on the heart to keep it moving, and you can add oxygen. And there are different schools. I heard that the pumping of the heart is more important because there's quite a lot of oxygen still in the body. But if the heart doesn't pump it around, then it doesn't go anywhere, and then there will be damage to the body that will be irreversible. So we know some of these things, and when we add it together with the knowledge that we get from the Bhagavad-gita, we can come to a higher spiritual understanding. We will get a better perspective of understanding ourselves and the world and everything in it. Yes, such atomic particles of the spirit soul are compared to the sunshine molecules. In the sunshine there are innumerable radiant molecules. Similarly, the fragmental parts of the Supreme Lord are atomic sparks of the rays of the Supreme Lord, called by the name Prabha, or superior energy. So whether one follows Vedic knowledge or modern science, one cannot deny the existence of the spirit soul in the body. And the science of the soul is explicitly described in the Bhagavad-gita by the personality of Godhead himself. Yes, this example is very helpful. The sun is there. The sun is the source of all the sunshine. Each and every molecule of sunshine comes from the sun. And it's actually not different from the sun. It's not cut off from the sun. You cannot take a ray of sunshine and put it in a box. There has to be the connection there. So the particle of sunshine exists, it is real, it is effulgent and warm and light, just like the sun. It's just a lot smaller. And the sun is always there, being the origin, being, how to say, the same because it's connected, but still the sun has its separate existence. So we learn all these things in the second chapter of the Bhagavad-gita, and we will continue learning so many things about the soul in the second chapter of the Bhagavad-gita. Please come back. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang